Brazilian armed forces. This is called reporting, journalism. The legacy media should try sometimes. I have been living in the United States for the better part of a decade, but now it's different. I live in exile, unable to return to my homeland. I wish I could say I'm the only one in this situation, but I'm not. Dozens of journalists are being persecuted, with several also exiled here in the U.S. I must mention the notable case of journalist Alan dos Santos, present here in the audience, whose arrest was ordered by Justice Moraes for crimes of opinion, and the extradition denied by the United States government. Or the case of the liberal podcast Warner, who I guess is also here today, having fled to America after his social media platforms were taken down and his life was ruined by Justice Moraes for merely questioning our electoral system and the ongoing censorship in Brazil. Thousands, no, tens of thousands of ordinary citizens had their social media taken down by the same Alexandre de Moraes. My friends, I assure you, these are all facts. And regardless of your political stance, you do not want to live in a country where one man can determine what can be said. That's why this violates all human rights and international treaties, even the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees freedom of expression and of the press, regardless of Trump's views. All this also violates my rights, protected under the Constitution of the United States of America, since all my journalist activity was conducted while living here, therefore under American jurisdiction and protected by the sacred First Amendment. Let me put it clearly. What's happening in Brazil is criminal. And unfortunately, this crime has accomplished power in the Democratic Party seek to silence our voices. And how did Lula da Silva repay all these good services provided by the Democrats? He has antagonized every single American interest globally, aligning Brazil with Hamas, Venezuela, Cuba, Russia, Iran, and of course, China. Under his leadership, within the BRICS, Brazil has actively working with China towards ending the dollar's dominance as international trade currency. This must end. I urge the United States Congress members to exert their oversight responsibilities to promote the American geopolitical interests and to restore the inalienable human rights given to all of us by our Creator. As this country founding fathers so well described. This is what we ask for. God bless America. God bless Brazil.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for reminding us of what Lula has done since taking office. I chaired the China Commission. I chaired 99 congressional hearings on human rights abuse by the People's Republic of China, by the Chinese Communist Party, and especially in the Xi Jinping, where he is actually committing current day genocide against the Uyghurs. And then Lula, when asked, there's nothing but fawn over Xi Jinping. Ditto for Maduro, ditto for Cuba, and of course, it is very discouraging when the president of a country compares, not discouraging, it's outrageous, as you have pointed out, compares Israel and what they're doing against a terrorist attack by Hamas. And I would remind everyone to read, not just look at what they do, read what they say. The Hamas Charter of 1988 makes clear that they want every Jew dead. It couldn't be clearer, and they want the end, the evisceration of Israel itself. And yet, he compares, Lula that is, compares what they're doing to defend themselves against Hamas to be equivalent to the Holocaust. That is outrageous. So thank you for reminding us of that. Our final speaker, Andres Martinez Fernandez, who is Senior Policy Analyst for Latin America at the Heritage Foundation.
Congressman. When I was approached by the Congressman to engage on these issues, what we're seeing in Brazil, I was eager to accept because what we're observing is a very dangerous decline in the basic fundamentals of democracy and rights in Brazil. And unfortunately, it's not getting attention. And I think the scope of this, obviously, we've heard, but the attendance that we have here from these prominent leaders in Brazil coming all the way here to highlight this challenge underlies the gravity of the situation in Brazil. So I thank all of you and Congressman for highlighting this issue. Unfortunately, what we're seeing in the case of Brazil is a very dangerous but not new trend for Latin America and the world, in which we see the criminalization of dissent and opposition, the use of state power and judicial prosecutions to silence dissent and to empower a certain ideological or leading ruler. And that's what we've seen time and again throughout the region. And as someone pointed out, in Venezuela, it took that country down the path of crisis. And I worry that we are seeing a similar tendency in Brazil, and certainly what we're seeing, what we've heard from these speakers, aligns with that severity, this concern. And for those who think that this is going to be this kind of politicization of judicial activism is limited to just a few opposition voices, this is going to expand beyond that, and we're already seeing that with new actions going after independent NGOs, which are well respected in this city, including particularly Transparency International, which has been targeted by investigation in the Supreme Court for highlighting some of the abuses that they are seeing, some of the malpractice in the judicial system in Brazil. That has been rewarded with special fishing expedition, as some have highlighted in Brazil against that organization. So this is something that I hope we see more attention from the media and from outside of just the right of center bloc, because this is really an issue that addresses and impacts the broader freedom of speech and political rights in a country which is the largest, economically speaking, in Latin America, has very, very significant implications for the United States. We've already heard some of the challenges that we've seen as far as the current leadership in Brazil not aligning with the United States, working in many instances at cross purposes with the United States and U.S. influence in the region. But despite that, we've really seen silence from the Biden administration. And if anything, a praise for the current government. We saw Secretary Blinken very recently down in Brazil praising the government for its actions on workers' rights and environmental rights, but no mention of the endangerment of political